Hey team, welcome to the video. Hope everybody is well. So something I got asked on and something that's popped up recently was how to recover after late night matches and trainings, because this is something a lot of us can kind of resonate with. Like, you know that feeling, you're getting home from training late, 9, even 10 o'clock sometimes, even after matches, and you're like, how do I recover from this? Like, how do I start that recovery process? How do I manage that when you're in that position? Because as a footballer, you'll know this very well. So this is what I wanted to do the kind of talk on today. So as I was saying there, we all know that feeling. Like, depending, I know personally that I train on a Tuesday night till 10 o'clock and see trying to like get up the next day and feel fully recovered from that training session. It's really tough. It's really hard to like just settle down, relax after doing that high intensive session. Like, what should you be eating as well? Should you be eating a lot? Should you be eating less? It can be quite confusing, a wee bit overwhelming for us. So especially for you guys who have jobs, who you're up early the next morning, it's really important that we manage this to the best of our ability so that we can get that recovery process started. So we're ready to get into our next training session and keep things rolling. So, what do we do to optimize our recovery? Like, what things do we need to focus on? How much of it that we need to do, and like, when do we start that process? So, I think the most important one that a lot of us get quite confused around is how to fuel yourself, how to feed after a late game or a late training session. Because with this, we don't want to be eating too much. Like, because if you're getting too much food in right before bed, it's going to have an impact on your sleep and how sleepy you're going to feel, and having an impact on like how quickly you can get to sleep as well. So we don't want to be going to bed feeling full, bloated, but we do need to get those nutrients in at the same time to help with the recovery process. So here's a few things that you need to focus on. Number one, I would say focus on a good high protein source. This is to ensure that the muscle fibers that have been damaged through training are getting that recovery, and we're getting to build on that so that we can get the adaptations that we want. So it's important that we're getting high protein in there for recovery. Something as well, I would say, make sure it's easily digestible. We don't want food sitting in our gut as we go to bed, so we want something that can be digested quite quickly. Okay, so staying away from like high fibrous foods and stuff like that. As well, we want some good carb sources in there because we'll be quite depleted with our glycogen, especially if we're going out and we're going to be doing some work the next day. But that'll come more from like a training session. You might have another training session next day, but if it's a match day, the day after your game, you'll have a big window where you should be taking a full recovery day, and you should be able to actually focus on your nutrition more on that day. But if you've got a training day the next day as well, it's important that we're getting out those carb sources back supplied. Also as well, getting in some good sources of fats as well, just for overall health too. So we want to refuel as best as possible without interfering our sleep. This is the most important thing. If it was all just about refueling, we could just stock our bodies up with a lot of food. But at the same time, you're looking to go to bed within like an hour and a half of that session. So how do we go about that? So for example, if you're looking for some, I'm not just going to tell you like what I'm going to tell you exactly what you could go for, kind of some examples here that we've put forward. So like number one, protein yogurt bowl, nice high protein, easily digestible, some carbs from the fruit and stuff in there, really good source. Scrambled egg on toast, easy down, another good example. Also as well, protein shake with a bit of fruit, like a pack of pineapple or something like that. Really easy, really quick, really convenient, and something I want to kind of make clear as well is we want to start the recovery process as soon as possible. If you have the ability to start the feeding and start the refueling process straight after the game or the training, I would recommend doing so. So if you're going to a late game, late training session, maybe just have like a protein shake ready for whenever you finish with a bit of fruit that you can just drink on the way home, nibble on the way home, or you can do straight after the session. Because this is just going to get those nutrients into the system nice and quickly, so that by the time you get home, you're not really having to make any food up, waste time, so that you can start to look at unwinding down for the night and start looking at focusing on your sleep. Okay, so finally, lastly, focusing on quality sleep. Like, those are the two main things that you need to be focusing on when it comes to recovery. It's your nutrition and your sleep. Those are the two main pillars. Okay, so it's important that we have a good routine set up for whenever we get home from our training, whenever it comes to our sleep. So this will look like not doing any sort of like high stimulus activities, like looking at your phone, scrolling on Facebook, Instagram, all that crack. Just having some sort of routine in there, good sleep hygiene, in order to help us get sleep. Because it can be quite challenging getting to sleep after a late training session. So it's important that we're putting in everything that we can to help enable us to get to sleep as soon as possible. Because a lot of you guys may have work the next day, you may have to be up early, so it's important that we're optimizing that sleep window as much as possible. So getting rid of electronics, maybe taking a bath, hot shower. What else could you do? You could do some reading, some meditation, keeping the bedroom a good sleep zone, so dark, quiet, cool, all these things. Doing the basic stuff will go a long way for you, so it's important that we do that. And this is something that's come up a lot recently. So making sure that we're refueling. So finally, just to finish, making sure that we're refueling well after the game, but we're not overdoing it to interfere with our sleep, and making sure that our sleep routine and hygiene are on point to make sure that we're optimizing as much of that sleep window as we can. So that's my advice around that. But at the end of the day, like, life's going to move forward, life's going to move on. Sometimes you just have to suck it up and get on with it. But if you can, really try and optimize all of this as much as possible, because it will really help you in the long run. But as I say, like, it can be challenging coming home from a late session. So it's just about doing whatever you can and making the most of it. So what I would recommend is try and getting in like a high protein source, easy digestible meal in as soon as you can after you do that training or game. Getting home, getting into that de-stimulation mode, getting ready for bed, and getting the best night's sleep possible before you move into the next day. So that's my advice around that. Hopefully that was helpful. If you do have any questions or anything around that, please feel free to hit me up. And yeah, enjoy.